welcome back to our course on modern web development. I'm excited to get started with you today. In this lesson, we'll begin setting up our development environment. This is an essential first step as it ensures we all have the tools we need to start coding in the next lesson. Today, we'll focus on installing two key tools, Node.js and Visual Studio Code, your code editor. First, let's install Node.js. Node.js allows us to run JavaScript files on our computers inside of a web browser, which is crucial for modern web development. Along with Node.js, we'll get NPM, which stands for Node Package Manager. NPM helps us manage the packages and libraries we'll use in our projects. So, just to not make it complicated, imagine you're downloading mods for Minecraft. So NPM is like the main guy who will install those mods and save them in the file. So let's start with installing Node.js. Open your web browser and navigate to nodejs.org. So here's the link. On the homepage, you will see two versions available. The LTS version, which stands for long-term support, and the current version. I highly recommend downloading the LTS version because it's more stable and reliable for our purposes. Click on the install button, and once the download is complete, open the installer file. It is similar for both Windows and Mac users. However, for the Windows users, you have to install it through .msi installer file you just downloaded, and then you just follow the prompts of the setup wizard. And similarly for the Mac users, you download it through .package installer file, and then you follow the prompts in the installer. Click continue to proceed, and then just read and agree to the license agreement. Now, let's verify our installation. Let's make sure Node.js and NPM were installed correctly. So to check that, we can check it through our terminal. Open up your terminal. Okay, I'll just make this window bigger. And here we can run several lines of code. So first one is Node V. And yes, we successfully downloaded Node. And similarly run the code for NPM to check the current version. V stands for the version. Yeah, and it works perfectly. You should see a version number displayed, like mine, 10.8.3. If you see the version numbers, congratulations, Node.js and NPM are installed successfully on your system. Now let's navigate back and install Visual Studio Code, our code editor. In your web browser, navigate to code.visualstudio.com, or you can just simply click the link here and it will redirect you here, and press the button download for macOS. It is a similar process for both Mac and Windows users. You just have to follow the prompts of the wizard and install it either through .exe file or .zip file. Okay, now let's open our Visual Studio Code because I already downloaded it a long time ago. Here we can, okay, let me just cancel those. And here you can see the welcome screen. And now we can explore the Visual Studio Code. When you first open Visual Studio Code, you might see a welcome screen with helpful tips and links. So let's take a quick tour. Now let's create a new file so we can work. Let's name it Nozomio Lesson 2 Setting Up. And just simply open the folder. Okay, so, on the left side you might see activity bar, which I mentioned earlier. So the first option is Explorer. View and manage your files. You can create, edit, add new folders, import or export files. Search. You can search for your files. Source control, integration with Git, and we'll cover this in the next lesson, how you can use Git to leverage your coding experience. Then run and debug. Run and debug your code to check for mistakes, which is one of the most important tools for any developer. And of course extensions. Install extensions to enhance VS Code. So there are plenty of them, for example, autoclose tag for HTML, code runner, Prettier, or even GitHub Copilot, your AI pair programmer, which is kinda very useful. You can leverage your coding experience by using AI. So let's get back to the lesson. So now feel free to click around and familiarize yourself with the interface, and don't worry if it feels overwhelming at first. We'll be using VS Code throughout the course and you'll get comfortable with it over time. So for now, Let's play with it a little bit. We can create a new file using the JavaScript. Let's call it index.js. And now we can just simply run the following command if we want to just print the most typical phrase, hello world. So console log. And now let's execute this command. And boom, we can see, yeah, our terminal perfectly shows hello world. And that means you successfully installed both npm and Node.js as well. So that's it for the part 1. You've successfully installed Node.js, npm, and Visual Studio Code. These tools are essential for developing modern web applications, and we'll be using them extensively throughout the course. For your exercise, please make sure you've completed these installations on your own computer. Try opening VS Code and perhaps create a new file, as we just did, and feel free to play. In the next lesson, we'll continue setting up our environment by installing Git and creating a GitHub account. If you run into any issues during installation, don't worry, reach out in the course forum or send me a message and I'll be happy to help you troubleshoot. And thanks for your joining me in this lesson. See you next time when we will complete our development environment setup in part 2. Thank you.